And we are back here, getting ready for a 9th grade championship game between the Central Ohio Spirit and the Ohio Valley Dragons. Jeremy Scott here, courtside at the commentary table. And, of course, we've got Caleb Graham manning the camera once again because that was just kind of what he was saddled into doing. You know, he's one of these administrative types. And when you're an administrative type, you kind of have to do whatever job needs to be done at that very moment. And, hey, listen, this is what buttered Caleb's read for many years, doing this whole camera thing. So he's pretty good at this. So you're going to be seeing some fantastic video work here during this 9th grade game, as you have all day long as Caleb has been here at the commentary table with me. This game does indeed pit the Central Ohio Spirit against the Ohio Valley Dragons, and I tell you, I'm looking forward to this one. We saw the Dragons a little bit earlier, a fantastic effort by them. After this game, we're going to have the 10th and 11th grade championship, and that'll be right here on GBA TV as well. But the ball is in the air for this one, and it's controlled by the Central Ohio Spirit, pushing the ball down to the other end and almost having it poked away from her, and then out of bounds it goes. And they're going to say that one went off of the Dragons. All right, and by the way, that was Cass. That was Cass for the Spirit who had the ball, and she brought it down. All right, so that is number 12, Chloe. Up top to Cass. Cass is able to win that little volley for it, and she puts it up and in. And the Spirit draw first blood. It is 2-0. The Spirit over the Dragons. On to the right wing on the other end. That's Bosley. Bosley's going to attempt a three-pointer. That's no good. That's pulled down by Chloe. And that's going to be a foul. On the Spirit, they say. All right. Back up top it comes. And that is out to Archer. There are 2 Archers on this team, if you'll remember. There's 22 Archer and 14 Archer. Underneath in the low post. Nice move. That is up and in. And that is 2 for Kerr. And that makes it a 2-2 ball game. It's all knotted up here in the early going. This is the kind of game I need to stand up for because I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of action between these 2 quality teams. Outside it comes. And on the drive, that's Cass, and she puts it up, and that's stripped out of her hands, but it went off of a Dragons player, and so that's going to remain on this end of the floor. It will be Spirit ball once again. Inbounds it comes. That is Ellie. To Lauren. Back to the right, and Chloe. She's looking for Cass. She finds Cass at the foul line. She dishes it. That's a short corner shot. That's up, and that's no good, and it's rebounded by the Dragons. So Lauren not able to convert that bucket from the short corner, and the Dragons have the ball now. Dalton to the left wing. And that's stolen away. Poked away by Corey. And that's going to be a foul on number 22, Archer. So the Dragons, with their first team foul, give the ball back to the Spirit. And that foul on Archer. That's a second foul on Archer. And that's a second team foul on the Dragons. So quick fouls here by the Dragons, 2 of them. And the score remains 2-2. Inbounds it comes to Corey. Corey on the drive. Corey on the shot. She had it stripped away from her. It went out of bounds. So it remains at this end. Don't forget, if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to share it. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching it on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe. And there's a shot that falls, and that's a 2-point advantage now for the Spirit off of that 2-point bucket by Ellie. So 4-2 the scores. Dalton drives to the other end. She passes it outside. There's a wide open look for 3. That's short, and it goes to Corey for the Spirit. Spirit are going to push this ball down to the other end. Corey on the drive. Corey on the pass. There's a shot that's up, and that is no good. Cass had a good look at a lay-in there. Wasn't able to convert it, and back come the Dragons on offense. Archer has it. Archer has it for the Dragons. She's going to pass it back to Dalton on the outside, and they're going to reset everything. Gives it off to Bosley. And that's a handoff to Dalton. Dalton at the point. She's guarded there by Ellie. On to the left wing. Back to Archer. Up at the top. And that's a 3-second violation, so it's going to come back to the Central Ohio Spirit. Somebody caught camping in the lane just a little bit too long, and that will give the ball back to the Central Ohio Spirit, who lead it by 2 with 11:23 and winding here on this first half clock. There's Corey with a shot from the short corner. That's up, no good. Offensive board, and there it is. That is a 2-point bucket for Lauren. Central Ohio Spirit lead it by 4. That's a steal, stolen away by Cass. And that's a foul on Kerr. That's the third team foul on the Ohio Valley Dragons. So 3 very early fouls here for the Dragons. Spirit lead it by 4. Shot from the elbow. That's up and no good. Pulled down by Wingrove. And the Dragons have the ball back on offense, down 4. Dalton with it. She's guarded by Ellie. Gets a pick. Bounce pass inside, and that is tied up. And possession arrow will favor the Central Ohio Spirit. A couple of substitutions for both teams. Schneider and Archer into the ball game for the Dragons. As Tanya checks in for the Spirit. And she dishes it off. On the outside, there's a look at a 3. That's no good, and it's pulled down by Bosley. And they're going to say jump ball, but that will favor the Dragons. That possession arrow will. So it's going to come back to the other end. That was Lauren on that shot. She wasn't able to convert, and it will be Dragons ball. 10:22 and winding here on this clock. Jeremy Scott here. 7th annual Panther Classic at Capital University. 3-point look for the Dragons. That's up. That's no good. Loose ball, and the possession arrow favors the Spirit, and that's what they're going to call. They're going to call a jump ball. So it's going to go right back to Central Ohio as Twyman checks into the ball game for the Dragons, and Archer will check out. Corey gives it off to Lauren. 3-on-1. Short corner. There's a look for 2. And it falls. 2 for Tanya. That makes it 8-2. Central Ohio Spirit leading the Ohio Valley Dragons. That's Twyman with it. Pump fake, drive, pass, 3-pointer. No good. Rebounded by Lauren. Lauren pushing the ball down to the other end. She's going to pass it to Tanya, and Tanya saves it from going out of bounds. She gives it off to Corey. Corey, have the ball swatted at. They're going to get a foul. That's going to be a foul on the Dragons. That'll be a foul on number 24, Bosley. That is the 4th team foul on the OV Dragons. So Moore will check into the ball game. Bosley will sit out for a little bit. Spirit maintain possession of this ball. Up top, there's Lauren. That is a 2-point bucket. And it's a 10-2 ball game. Nope, they're going to say that was a 3-pointer. I'm sorry. So, on the other end, it's Dragons ball. Moore gives it off to Twyman. And that's a timeout. Timeout called by the Dragons with the score 11-2. The Spirit leading the Dragons right here on GBA TV. We'll be back. And it's back to the action here with the Spirit leading the Dragons 11-2. Here in the early going, it's Twyman with the ball for the Dragons. She has it poked out of her hands and out of bounds, and they're going to say that is off of the Spirit. So the Dragons will keep possession. Schneider to inbound it. They stack. They break the stack. Schneider looking for somebody to pass to. She finds somebody to pass it to. And Moore has it now. Moore kicks it outside to Schneider. Schneider on the drive, passes it back outside. Cross-court pass to Moore. Into the low post. And back outside it goes. That's a 3-point look. That does not fall. And that's rebounded by the Spirit. And then there's a tie-up. And possession arrow favors the Spirit. Nope, they're going to say it's Dragons ball. There was a little bit of confusion there, but one of the scorers over here said, no, it's the black jerseys who should have it. So there you go. So it is Dragons ball. Now that that is cleared up, there's an inbounds pass to Bennett. Bennett drives, and Bennett is going to be called for a travel. It's going to come back to the Central Ohio Spirit. So once again, the Dragons get close, just not able to do anything with it, as Cass gets ready to check back into the game for the Spirit. Next whistle, we will see these substitutions, Cass as well as Ellie. At the foul line, that's Lauren. Back outside, that's a three-point look, and no good. Rebounded by Archer. And the Dragons are going to push this ball back down the floor. That's Twyman with it. She gives it off to Moore. Kick outside. That's a three-point look for Schneider, and that's off the side of the backboard, and that's out of bounds. And so these substitutions will come now. Cass and Ellie checking into the ball game for the Spirit. Meanwhile, numbers 10 and 2, Corey and Lauren will sit. On the other end, that's Ellie. Bounce pass over to Chloe. Back to Ellie at the foul line. Into the corner it goes to Tanya. Back outside to Chloe, foul line. And then that's over the intended receiver's head. They were looking for Tanya there, and Tanya's not exactly short, but she's not that tall either. So that was just a little too tall for her, and so it's going to come back to the Dragons off of that turnover. 11-2 the score here. 7:20 to play here in the first half of this 9th grade girls championship game. As Moore drives, puts it up. That's no good. Rebounded by the Spirit. Spirit with it now. That is Cass who's got it. Cass over to Chloe. Back to Cass. Cass on the drive. Cass with the right hand up, and she will go to the foul line, and she will shoot two. That is the 5th team foul on the Ohio Valley Dragons, as getting ready to check into the game for the Spirit, Kylie. And that will come after this free throw by Cass. First free throw attempt for either team. Cass's first free throw attempt is up, and that's short. As indeed Kylie checks in, and Allie checks out. Cass's second free throw is an air ball, and so it's going to go right back to the Ohio Valley Dragons. Cass 0 for 2, that trip to the charity stripe. And that's Moore. Up top. Bounce pass underneath. Nice looking pass. And there's a kick out to a 2-point bucket attempt, and that's no good. And Dalton tried to save it, but it went right into the hands of Cass for the Spirit, and they control now. To Ellie. Ellie having it knocked out of her hands. That's a steal. Stolen away by the Dragons. And then that's stolen right back by Cass. Cass has it for the Spirit. She lays it up, and that's no good. Offensive rebound. That's no good. And then that's taken by Moore. So a couple of opportunities there for the Spirit. Not able to do anything with either one. And Moore comes to the other end. Taking it coast to coast. She has it swatted out of her hands. And it's the Spirit's ball. Outlet pass up to Cass. Cass has it. And she's going to pull up. She's going to drive it. Put it up and in. Cass with 4 points. Makes it a 13-2 ball game. The Spirit lead the Dragons by 11. Dalton with it. Cross-court pass to the left wing. That's back up top to Bennett. The foul line, into the lane, she spins. She kicks it outside to Dalton. Dalton into the short corner, back to the right wing, and Archer. Back to the left wing. Back to the right, and Dalton now. Dalton's going to reset everything. Dragons bench calls for motion. Gives it off to Moore. She gives it off to Bennett, back to Moore, and that's short, and it's going to go out of bounds and back to the Spirit. So 13-2 the score. A few changes. Bosley, Archer, and Kerr all check into the game for the OV Dragons. Meanwhile, sitting will be Archer, Moore, as well as number 1, Bennett. 5.5 to play here in the first half. 13-2 the score. Spirit with the double-digit lead over the Dragons. That's Chloe with it. Cross-court pass over to Kylie. Back to the cross-court, that's Tanya. And into the right corner for 3. That's no good for Ellie, and it's pulled down by the Dragons. On the other end. And getting fouled on her drive. That was Archer, and she's going to go to the line. She's going to attempt 2. That, by the way, the second team foul on the Spirit as Archer kind of stops some bleeding there for the Dragons. They haven't scored in quite a while. As Archer converts on the first foul shot attempt. So 13-3 the score. Archer could cut this to a single-digit lead for the Spirit, and does. So 13-4 the score. Spirit lead the Dragons by 9. into the right corner. There's a two-point look. That's up. That's no good. Short by Corey for the Spirit, pushing the ball back down the floor of the Dragons. That is Bosley on the drive. She gives it off to Dalton. Dalton's going to step up, attempt a three, and no good. Rebounded there, and that is up, and that is no good on the offensive board. Another offensive board. That is up, and getting fouled on her way up is Kerr. Kerr has 2 points so far. She hasn't been to the line, but she's about to go there. Third team foul on the Spirit. So Kerr at the line to attempt two. First shot is up, and it's short. As the second shot falls. So Kerr 1 for 2 from the line. Cuts it to a 13-5 lead now for the Spirit. They lead it by 8. Lauren. Bounce pass over to Corey. Inside to Cass. Cass has it stripped away from her, and there's a jump ball. And the possession arrow will favor the Spirit, so the Central Ohio Spirit will keep possession of this one. Checking out of the ball game for the Dragons, Twyman. Twyman checks out. And it's Spirit's ball. Cass underneath. She's going to give it off. There's a two-point look. That is up and good. But, nope, they're going to wave out the bucket. They're going to say they weren't ready for play yet. All right. So back outside it comes. Pass underneath to Cass. And Cass drives. She's going to get fouled on her way up. And that right there, the 6th team foul on the Dragons, but it doesn't matter. Cass is going to go to the line. She's 0 for 2 there so far. She's got 4. And she converts on the first one. Second shot is good. 15-5, it's a 10-point advantage once again for the Spirit. We're at under 4 minutes to go here in the first half of this 9th grade girls championship game. Bosley with a steal by the Spirit, and then Bosley steals it right back. And then Bosley has it taken out of her hands by Cass. Underneath the hoop, and out of bounds it goes as Cass hits the deck for the Spirit. She hit the deck pretty hard, but she seems to be okay. As checking back into the ball game now for the Spirit will be Chloe. And she'll be checking in for Cass, who just hit the deck pretty hard. I think they just want to give her a little breather after that. Inbounds it comes to Chloe. Chloe to Ellie. On the right wing and Corey. Back up top it comes to Chloe. And then having it stolen away from her is Lauren. And the Dragons get the ball back down 10. 15-5 the score. Bosley gives it off to Dalton as the Dragons get their offense going. To Archer. Archer, cross-court pass, and having a little bit of trouble controlling it is Bosley, as Tanya will check back into the ball game for the Spirit. And she'll check in for number 13, Allie. So Tanya in, Allie out. Spirit up by 10. 3 minutes to go here in the first half. Tanya on the other end. That's a 2-point bucket. That's no good. And Dragons have it. Dalton pushing the ball back down the floor. Cross-court pass. It's Archer underneath. That's up. That's no good. That was partially blocked by the Spirit as Dalton brings it back to the outside. Short corner shot. That's up for 2, and that's no good. All right, so that's a foul on Lauren. That's the 4th team foul on the Spirit. As Wingrove will go to the line, and she will attempt, nope. That's a non-shooting foul, they say. All right. So, Bosley to inbound it here for the Dragons. To Kerr at the foul line. Kerr is going to pump fake and put it up. Nice move by her. She's got 5 of the Dragons, 7 points, and it's a 15-7 game. Spirit lead the Dragons by 8. On the other end, that's Chloe. Chloe almost having it poked out of her hand. She gives it off to Corey. Corey on the drive. Corey on the shot. That's no good. That's taken by the Dragons. Dragons have it now. They're pushing the ball back down the floor. That's Bosley. Bosley playing the point. She's going to push the ball back down, stop at the right wing, and give it off into the right corner. That's Archer. Archer guarded by Tanya. Back to Dalton. Gets a pick from Wingrove. And there's a three-point look. That's up and no good. And it's rebounded there by the Spirit. On the other end, that's Lauren, and Lauren gets fouled by Bosley. And so, with 8 team fouls, this is going to be a 1-and-1 situation here for the Central Ohio Spirit. Lauren to go to the line. She has 5 points. She has not been to the line yet today. Nope, they're going to say that was a shooting foul as she misses the first shot. So 15-7 is the score. As Bosley checks out of the ball game for the Dragons, excuse me, and Bennett checks in as well. And Wingrove will sit. Lauren's second foul shot is up, and it's long off the back of the iron. So 0 for 2, that trip to the line for Lauren keeps it a 15-7 game. We're at 1.5 to go here in the first half. Dalton with it for the Dragons, who trail by 8. Kicking it outside. There's a baseline drive. That's up, and that's a foul. That's going to be a foul on the Spirit. That's the 5th team foul on the Spirit, as Archer will step to the line. Archer is 2 for 2 at the charity stripe here so far, and make it 3 for 3. 15-8 the score as Cass checks in and Corey checks out. Archer, second shot, rims in there for her. So she's 4 of 4 from the line, and now it's a 15-9 game. Dragons well within reach here. Spirit have it though, up 6. And it's poked away, stolen away by Dalton. Dalton with the path to the bucket. She's going to lay it up and in. Her first 2 of the game. Make it a 15-11 score. Ellie over to Chloe on the right wing. That's Cass. Cass back outside to Ellie. I'm sorry, that's to Chloe. Cross-court pass to Tanya. Back to Chloe. That's to Lauren on the drive. Lauren in the paint, kicks it back outside. There's a three-point look. That's up and no good. And it's rebounded by the Dragons. Pushing the ball down the floor now. That is Dalton. Dalton one-on-one. Dalton with the layup, and she's going to get fouled. That'll be a foul on Chloe. 6th, though, Central Ohio Spirit foul. But more importantly for the Dragons, that's going to be a 2-shot opportunity here for Dalton. Dalton with 2 points so far, but she has a chance to add to that total and add to her team's total, and therefore cut into the Spirit lead. Dalton's first shot is good. You can tell this is a team, the OB Dragons, who really practices its free throws. Dalton's second shot is good. So, all of a sudden, it is a one-possession ball game, 15-13. Dragons with a little bit of a run here as we come down to the home stretch of this first half, as there is a foul on the Dragons. That's the 9th team foul this half on the Dragons. And that's a foul on Dalton. Dalton, who just converted those free throws, commits the foul there, and so Central Ohio Spirit will step back up to the free throw line, and this will be Lauren, who is 0 for 2 there so far today. Lauren at the line for the 1-and-1, and that's no good, and that's rebounded by Chloe, so good job by her to chase that down. And there's a three-point look for Tanya, and that's no good, and that's rebounded by the Dragons. Dragons on offense. Dalton pushing the ball down the floor. Dalton 1-on-2. Dalton with the layup, and that's no good. That's rebounded by Lauren. Lauren's got it now for the Spirit. Up ahead to Cass. Cass back to Lauren. Lauren's going to drive it and have it poked away from her, and there's a tie-up, and that possession arrow will favor the Ohio Valley Dragons. With 2.6 seconds to go here in the first half. The Spirit clinging to a 2-point lead to Moore. Moore with a heave at the end, and she actually had a little bit more time than that. She didn't need to do that right then and there, but she does. And that will end the first half with the score. The Spirit 15, the Dragons 13. Exciting one so far. We'll be back with the second half right here on GBA TV on Facebook and at GBA TV on YouTube. Back to the action here, getting ready for the second half of play between two fantastic teams here. The Central Ohio Spirit, the Ohio Valley Dragons. This is the 9th grade championship here at the 7th annual Panther Classic. And it will be the Spirit who lead this game to take the ball to begin the second half. And that will be Ellie to inbound it. And it looks like it'll be Chloe to play the point here to start things off here in the second half. So the clock, now it's running for some reason. It needs to be reset to 14 minutes. And anyway, there's a shot, and that's no good, and it's rebounded by the Spirit. So offensive rebound. There's another look for three, and that's no good. Rebounded by Archer, so Archer pulls it down for the Spirit. And back they come on offense. Archer has it now. Archer over to Dalton. Into the right, there's a wide open three look if they want it. They do want it, and that is a lead for the Dragons. That is Bosley with that three-point look. That makes it a 16-15 game. The Dragons lead the Spirit by 1. Dragons with their first lead of this game. And there's a half-court press. And they're going to say that that is a backcourt violation. They weren't able to get the ball across in time. So the Dragons get the ball back. As Tanya checks in, it'll be Lauren checking out here for the Spirit. Dalton over to the right wing, that's Bosley. Bosley up top to Archer, over to the left, and Wingrove. Wingrove has it. She pivots. She gives it off to Dalton. Gets a pick from Wingrove. Dalton into the left corner. She's going to get off to Kara. She's going to get it back off the Karam off Kara. There's a three-point look. That's up and no good. That was Bosley for three. And chasing down that loose ball are the Dragons. Bosley has it now. There's a lay-in attempt. That's up. That's no good. That's taken by the Spirit. And that is Chloe. Push the ball down the floor. There's an outlet pass to Tanya. Tanya back to Corey on the right wing. She has it knocked out of her hand. She gets it back. She gives it off to Chloe. Chloe's going to reset everything here for the Spirit. On to the right wing and Tanya. There's a three. No, that's a two-point look, I'm sorry, for Corey, and that is good. And so Corey makes it a 17-16 game. Dalton on to the right. There's a three-point look. That's up no good for Bosley. Spirit get it back, and back they come on offense. Underneath to Cass. She lays it up and in. So Cass, who has 8 points here so far, makes it a 19-16 game. Spirit back on top by 3. Bosley with it. She's going to pull up. She's going to take a three-pointer, and that's no good. And that's rebounded by Tanya. Tanya up ahead to Ellie. Ellie over to Cass. That's a two-point look. That's up no good. Rebounded there by Kara. Gives it off, and that is Dalton who has it. To Wingrove for three. That's short, and it's out of bounds. And kind of an unlucky bounce there for the Dragons because there was a player there to get it. Had it bounce the other way, but as it stands, goes out of bounds, and it will be Spirit's ball as Lauren gets set to check back in here for Central Ohio. Up ahead. Into the short corner, and Corey. Back it comes, and there's a pass underneath. Nice looking pass up underneath. That's a two by Cass. Cass now in double digits, 21-16. The Spirit back up on top by 5. Dalton kicks it outside for a three look. That's up no good for Wingrove. And the rebound is tracked down by the Spirit. Back they come on offense. Ellie up ahead to Tanya, and it's over her head and out of bounds, and it's going to go back to Ohio Valley. The Dragons are going to get this ball back as Twyman checks into the ball game. Checking out will be Archer. And it looks like Bosley's going to sit as well as Archer checks in. Sheridan Archer. Twyman up top. Passes outside. On the right wing, and into the right corner it comes. And there's a pass attempt to Archer, who was in the low post there, but it was over her head. Good defense there on the part of the Spirit to make that pass so difficult that it went over everybody's head and out of bounds, and it's Spirit's ball once again. And the press is on. They beat the press to the Spirit. Into the right corner. That's a two-point look for Tanya. That's up. That's no good. Rebounded by Lauren. She puts it up and in. Lauren for 2. She's got 7. The score, the Spirit 23, the Dragons 16. On the other end, there's a layup attempt. That's up. That's no good. That's a loose ball. And the jump ball possession arrow will favor the Dragons. So it'll be Wingrove to inbound it. As Dalton checks out of the ball game for the Dragons. She's upset with herself, at least she appears to be. And checking in for the Spirit is Allie, and sitting is Ellie. So Allie in for Ellie. And we play on. Inbounds it comes. That's stolen away by the Spirit. Lauren's got it. And then it's taken back by the OV Dragons. Into the right corner, driving a baseline. And losing it is Wingrove, and it's going to come back to Central Ohio. So Wingrove loses it on the drive, and it's going to come back to the Central Ohio Spirit, who are up 7. Yep. And there's a loose ball. And the Spirit called timeout because of that press that was on. They were having some trouble beating it, and so the sideline over here very alertly called timeout. So with 9:28 to go here in the second half, the score, the Spirit 23, the Dragons 16. Back to the action here at the 7th Annual Panther Classic. It's the 9th grade Girls Championship game with the score. The Spirit 23, the Dragons 16. Jeremy Scott here at courtside alongside Caleb Graham, who's on camera. Bennett with the steal for the Dragons. She lays it up, and that's no good. So the Dragons not able to do anything off of that steal. That's Chloe. She gives it off to Lauren. Lauren into the corner. That's Tanya. She'll take a three-point attempt. That's up. That's no good. And it's tracked down by Chloe. So offensive board. She takes another shot at it. That's no good. That's rebounded by Archer. So Archer's got it for the OV Dragons. That'll be Moore to bring the ball up the floor. And she'll be guarded by Chloe. Across to Bennett. Back across to Twyman. Twyman with the pass. She was looking for Archer, and it just went off of her hands and not able to handle that hot pass. As Cass will check back into the ball game, and she will check in for Tanya. And Ellie will check in at next whistle for the Spirit. And up ahead, that's Corey with a bounce pass over to Cass. Cass pivoting, looking for somebody to pass it to. She does. She finds Chloe. Chloe on the right wing. Chloe with a bounce pass to Lauren. Lauren with a nice move underneath. That's up. That's no good. And there's a jump ball. And that jump ball is going to favor the Central Ohio Spirit. And Chloe's going to check out of the ball game. Ellie will check in. And Ellie will be the one to inbound this ball. She finds Corey in the short corner. That's a shot. That's up. That's no good. And it's going to go right to the Spirit. So Johnny on the spot was Allie. And the Spirit keep control. And that's Ellie. Over to the right. There's a three-point look for Lauren, and that's no good. That's rebounded by Archer. So Archer's got it for the OV Dragons, and she gives it off. The Dragons are going to push the ball up the floor. That's Bennett. Underneath it goes, and I'll tell you what, a couple of passes just going through the hands of OV players. That was Kerr who wasn't able to handle that pass. Not like it was too tall for her. It was just a little bit too hard for her to handle. And it's going to come back to the Spirit. So that's two straight possessions. That's happened to the OV Dragons. On the other end, the Spirit have it. And that is Ellie with it. She's going to give it off at the foul line. That's up. That's no good for Lauren. That just kind of rimmed out on her, and back come the Dragons on offense. It's to Twyman. Twyman taking it to the top. On to the right wing. That's Moore. Moore has it knocked out of her hands by Cass. And it's going to remain on this end as Chloe checks in and Allie checks out. Also checking out Lauren. And there's a line change for the Dragons. 5 in, 5 out. That's Bosley to inbound. And there's a quick 3. But there to get it on the offensive boards. That's number 11, Dalton, and she's got 6 points, and that makes it a 23-18 game. So we're at 7:12 to go here in the second half. Spirit to inbound. They have that 7-point lead. No, I'm sorry, it's 23-18. It's a 5-point lead. On the other end, that's taken away by the Dragons. I need to look at my own screen when I give the score. 23-18 is the score as the Dragons have it on offense. On the other end, there's a quick 2-look. That's up, that's no good, and it's taken by the Spirit. And back come the Spirit on offense as Dalton is not able to save him from going out of bounds and keep possession for the Dragons, so it's going to go out of bounds off of the Dragons, and it will be Spirit ball. Passing up the 3. They do take the 3, and that's no good. And it's rebounded by the Spirit. Cass ends up with it. She gives it off to Ellie. Ellie gives it back to Cass on the right. Cross-court pass over to Corey. She'll attempt a 3. And that won't be any good. That will be rebounded by number 24, Bosley. Back to Dalton. Dalton up at the top. And Dalton's going to take it herself, drive it, and put it in. Nice move there by Dalton. She's got 8 points, and the score 23-20. Again, it's a one-possession ball game, and the press is on, and they're able to beat the press, the Spirit. That's a baseline drive by Cass, who lays it up and not able to convert the bucket, but she's going to go to the line, and she is going to shoot 2. And would you believe that's the first team foul on either side, and that does not come here in the second half until we've got 5:53 to play. So, very cleanly played second half here as Cass steps to the line for 2, and she converts the first. Tanya checks in. Corey checks out. Cass back at the free throw line. Second shot is up for her, and it falls. And the score is 25-20. The Spirit back on top by 5. As Dalton has it. She's going to kick it out. It's Bosley. Going to drive it into the paint, put it up, no good. Rebounded there by Chloe. And there's a tie-up, and the ball's going to go out of bounds. Who are they going to say it's off of? Or did they blow the whistle before that? Oh, no. That is going to go to the Dragons. All right. That's Bosley inbounding. Short corner shot. That's up, and that's no good. Pulled down by the Spirit. Ellie up ahead to Tanya. Tanya has the ball knocked out of her hands, and that goes off of Wingrove. And so Cass underneath. That's no good. That's pulled down by Archer. Archer on the defensive glass. Archer drives. Archer with the layup, and she gets fouled on her way up, and that's going to be a foul on the Spirit. So Archer's going to step to the line where she's been very good today. She's 4 of 4. So she's definitely who you want on the line if you're the Dragons. As Corey is getting ready to check back in here for the Spirit. Got a couple of substitutions forthcoming for the Dragons, as well as Archer keeps her perfect streak going here from the foul line. She is 5 of 5 and cuts it to a 4-point lead for the Spirit. Archer, second free throw. Makes it look very easy. She's got 6 points, and all 6 of those points have come from the foul line. And the score is 25-22. Timeout on the floor with 5 minutes even to go here in the second half. We'll be back right here on GBA TV. And back to the action with the Spirit on offense up 3. That's Corey in the short corner. She gives it off, and then underneath it goes, and that's an errant pass over to Lauren, and Spirit able to track that one down. That is Chloe with it. She gives it off to Ellie. Back to Chloe, and into the corner it goes. That's a three-point look. That's up. That's short. That's taken by Dalton. Dalton has it for the Dragons. Her team down 3. Dalton up ahead it comes, and they're going to pass it back outside, and that's going to be a three-point attempt by Twyman. That's no good, and saved by the Dragons. Nope, it's going to go out of bounds, they're going to say. That ball crossed the boundary line before the Dragons were able to save it, and so it's going to be Spirit's ball here with them up by 3. And they're trapped in the backcourt. And what are they going to call here? Are they going to say it's off of the Dragons? Remains Spirit's ball? Yep. Spirit will keep possession here. They're going to say that ball was knocked out of bounds by the OB Dragons, but the full court press is on here. Looking for somebody to pass it into, and they finally do. And then it's almost poked away from Chloe, but she's able to get it across the timeline, and she gets it ahead to Lauren. Lauren on the outside. Cross-court pass over to Ellie. Up top to Chloe. Chloe on the drive. She's going to lay it up with the underhand, and that's good. Chloe's first 2 of the game makes it a 27-22 game. Dalton. Pass over to Archer. Archer's going to drive a baseline. Nice drive. That's no good. Rebounded there on the offensive side. Another offensive rebound for the OV Dragons. As Twyman has it. Twyman cross-court pass. That's over to Archer. It's Dalton to Bosley. Three-point look for Archer. That's no good. And it's tracked down by Archer. She follows her own shot, puts it back up and in. Archer now with 8 points, and it is a 27-24 game. Up ahead to Corey, who's wide open, and she's not able to convert on the wide open lay-in. Dragons have it back. Down 3. They could potentially tie it here. Dalton on the drive. Dalton is going to get fouled pretty hard on her way up, and that's going to be a foul, I do believe, on Chloe. That's only the second team foul for the Central Ohio Spirit, but Dalton is going to step up to the charity stripe where she is 2 of 2 here so far, and she's got 8 points overall. It's good. 27-25 the score. Spirit clinging to a 2-point lead. 3:09 to play here. I'm sorry, 3:05 to play here in the second half of this 9th grade girls championship game. As the second shot falls for Dalton from the charity stripe, it is 27-26. As Lauren will inbound it, and the press is on. And they beat the press through the Spirit. Corey up ahead. Corey underneath. Corey with a shot. That's no good. Rebounded by Cass, and that's no good. And it's taken by the Dragons. Dragons down 1. Pushing it up ahead is Twyman. Twyman to Moore. Moore calls out a play. Moore keeping it outside. Gives it off. And that is Schneider with it now. Over to Moore. Moore at the foul line. Moore bounce pass to Schneider. Schneider on the drive, and she has it poked away from her. And it's going to remain on this end. We're at 2:25 to play here in the second half. Spirit cling to a 1-point lead here in this 9th grade girls championship game. Inbounds to Moore. That's up and good. Moore's first 2 makes it a 28-27 game. The Dragons lead it by 1. That's Cass on the drive. Lays it up with the underhand and 1. Dalton in, Archer in for the Dragons. Twyman out and Schneider out. As Cass steps up to the free throw line. Puts the ball in there. It is a 30-28 game. We're at 2 minutes even to play here in the second half. We saw overtime our last game. We could be headed for the same destiny this game, depending on how this one shakes out in these final 2 minutes. Dalton gets a pick from Archer. Gives it off to Moore. Into the right corner it comes. Underneath to Archer in the low post. Archer looking for somebody to pass to. She finds Archer. Archer outside, it goes to Moore. Moore for three. That's not going to be any good. That's going to be an air ball, as a matter of fact. That's taken by the Spirit. And back they come on offense. 30-28 the score. And there's a foul. That's going to be a foul on number 11, Dalton. And that is the team's second foul. Wingrove checks in. Bosley checks in. Moore checks out. And Bennett checks out for the Dragons. And that'll be Ellie to inbound it for the Spirit. And she does to Chloe. To Ellie. She's guarded by Archer. Back up top. Over the left wing. That's Corey. Corey on the drive. She gives it off to Cass. On the left wing it comes, and that's over to Chloe. With 1:04 to play here in the second half and winding. Spirit with a 2-point lead and the ball. It's Chloe. Outside to Ellie. They're keeping it on the outside. Play and keep away from the Dragons. It's Cass on the drive, and she's going to get fouled on that drive. And Cass, who's been very effective at the line here today, is going to go back to the line with a chance to put her team up by 4. And that would be huge. As Cass converts that first free throw. As Archer will sit. And Twyman checks back in for the Dragons. Cass no good on the second free throw, and it's tracked down by Corey. Big offensive rebound there for the Spirit. Underneath to Corey, he's wide open. That's no good, but she's fouled on her way up, and she's going to go to the line, and she's going to shoot 2. That is a foul on Wingrove. With the score 31-28. Corey at the line. And rims in the first one, and that makes it a 2-possession ball game. That is a huge free throw here for the Spirit. Corey trying to tack on to that 4-point lead, and does not. Rebounded by Cass, though, and she puts it up and in. 34-28 the score. The Spirit leading the Dragons here. We're under a minute to play. As a matter of fact, we're under 30 seconds to play. We're at 21.7 seconds to go here in this 9th grade girls championship game. And in front of us, it looks like the Spirit bench is really kind of starting to feel it, because they are up by 6 with 21.7 seconds to go in this great ball game. And we'll be back with the conclusion of it right here on GBA TV. Back to the action here. And we're at 15 seconds to go. There's a 3 for the Dragons. That's up. That's no good. Rebounded by Archer. Archer on the rebound. She puts it up and in there. And that cuts it to a 34-30 game. And a timeout is called on the floor. With 9.1 seconds to go, and the Spirit up 4. We'll be back right here at GBA TV. And back to the action we go. And it's knocked out of bounds off of that press. And it will remain Spirit's ball. 7.2 seconds left in this 9th grade girls championship game at least in terms of regulation. As it's inbounded, and they're trying to foul are the Dragons. And that's Chloe. And they're not quite at a bonus situation yet here. With 1 second to go, and they finally get the foul call with 0.3 seconds. And they're just going to go ahead and call this one with 0.3 seconds to go. They're going to say instead of taking the 1-and-1, they'll just call the game right there. So the Central Ohio Spirit take the 9th grade girls championship by the final of 34-30. And what a game it was. And we will have the 10th and 11th grade championship coming up right here on GBA TV.